In our modern world, well, maybe two theories. In our modern world, the most illustrated theory you could see everywhere, actually, they're all everywhere, but one we talk about a lot is John Stuart Mill's theory. The next one, probably on the same level, is ethical egoism. They are both consequential theories. We tend to see things in terms of the consequence, the results. We turn the job right and wrong and whether or not you benefit or you hurt someone, or the act itself benefit or hurt you, right? And these are consequential ways of looking at moral theory, looking at the effects of the act, all right? So it's not so much the act, it's not of any kind of belief in absoluteness. It's the idea that what's right and wrong depends on whether you're hurting people or not, all right? And that's where John Stuart Mill comes in. He agrees with Kant in a certain way, but Kant is very theoretical. And John Stuart Mill is seen to be following more in the footsteps of David Hume, okay? Mill asks a different kind of question. He says, look, if you look at people in general, okay, what motivates people? It is their feelings and emotions. But there's something else going on. If you look at the general motive of action, it's not all these emotion and feelings are good, but it's not all of it, okay? It's primarily their feelings. Okay, whereas Hume can be seen as argued as focusing more on the emotions and feelings are on the backside because you get the empathy, okay? Um, he John Stuart Mill is focusing on the idea of pleasure and pain itself, right, which deals more with the feeling of things. Utilitarianism is the name of his theory. It's the only theory here that has a name, which is utilitarianism, and can be classified as consequentialism, all right? We experience pain and pleasure in listening to music, eating and food, going out with friends. Anything you call pleasure, these philosophers call pleasure. Humans are governed by two sovereign masters. Sovereign mean that from now till the time you die, you cannot escape pleasure and pain unless you get some medical condition which now make you a threat to yourself. Because we use pain and pleasure to guide ourselves in life. You know, we injure ourselves, we know to stop what we're doing and go in the other direction. So there is no escape from that, all right? And that seems to be true, but it's a deep philosophical statement. It's saying the human experience is fundamentally grounded in pain and pleasure, right? This, we have to go deep into philosophy, practically people understand it. To understand this theory, we need to go into hedonism a little bit, okay? Hedonism is the idea you pursue pleasure as the ultimate good, okay? So let's look at hedonism just a little bit. Right? There is psychological hedonism, okay? And this is the view that people are born pursuing pleasure as the ultimate good. I highly recommend you stop the video right here, read this, take notes, and also look on the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy for more understanding. But the meaning of this word, psychological hedonism, is the view that we are born, everyone is born making pleasure as the most important criterion in making any decision that we make. You're going to eat food, you always look for the pleasure above all else. But you know that to be false. People who do that eat only junk food because that tastes the best. Okay, if you eat food that you want to taste good and also be healthy, that's not hedonism. That's not psychological hedonism. Okay, it's not psychological hedonism. This is like a psychotic problem some people may have, and there are people who are born like that. Okay, there are people who might also be born psychologically hedons, and they have some control because there is still the free will in the background. This one denies free will. You're like an animal, psychologically always pursuing that. You may think that pleasure is the most important thing, but because you have that free will power, you can still control yourself some. And this is where the philosophers are going to come in. They're going to argue if you want to live a life pursuing pleasure, you must go beyond this animalistic, psychological sense of hedonism. And I underline the word should. They say that you should will to pursue pleasure. If you understand it right, you can have the best life possible, okay? Aristippus was a follower of Socrates, and he argued, and Socrates argued against hedonism as a way of life. And Aristippus, when he went back to his hometown Cyrene, began to do his own philosophy, and he was a street philosopher like Socrates, Socrates, the father of philosophy. But then he changed from Socrates' way of looking at things. He looked at the world and said, look, if you want to be happy in life, look who are the happiest around you. Those who enjoy more, those who eat well, listen to good music, they drink good wine. These people have the happiest life. But if you look very, very closely, too much pleasure is a bad thing. If you eat too much food, you're going to have upset stomach. You drink too much, you will not be able to get up and follow through on your responsibilities. Excessive pleasure can be harmful to you. It can be painful to you, okay? So although we pursue pleasure, we must understand something that's important. When it's excessive, we control ourselves. This is the use of free will, okay? You're no longer psychologically like an animal pursuing pleasure. You can control yourself. This view of hedonism is alive today. It is a fundamental part of American society, okay? Perhaps the world society nowadays, okay? But in many places, people pursue pleasure, but they expect you to regulate yourself, or they expect to regulate yourself. This is cyanide hedonism. And this view, although it includes a moral statement, I just want you to experience hedonism from the ancient world, which is still prevalent today. This view is still prevalent. Another view of hedonism, which is still that prevalent today and emerging in ancient time, is called Epicurean hedonism. And in that sense, Epicurean hedonism is the view that all pleasures are good. Like Cyrenaic hedonism says, all pleasures are good. You just have to avoid excessive indulgence. Epicurean hedonism says, all pleasures are good, but there are some pleasures are better than other pleasures. Refined pleasures are better, okay? So the pursuit of refined pleasures, they're a cut above the previous hedonistic system. This view of hedonism often appeals to wealthy people. The author of that, Epicurus, he was a middle-class individual, not super rich, but middle class, okay? And he thought you could eat regular food and you could eat quality, like we would call gourmet food. Today we could eat regular chocolate or gourmet chocolate or designer chocolate. That people want to label it differently nowadays, okay? And so with the refined pleasures, you're satisfied more quickly, less likely to engage in excessive indulgence. And also Epicurus brought in the idea of pleasures of the mind, okay? This is where you get the arts from. Listen to classical music, reading poetry, right? What you call the humanities is defined as the pursuit of Epicurean pleasures, okay? Refined pleasures. You're a man of culture, that would be Epicurus. You're a woman of culture, that would be Epicurus' way of looking at it, okay? And so in this sense here, we have another form of hedonism. This one is also alive today. If you want to keep up with the Jones, they'll say, or you want to have the fine pair of tennis shoes, or Nike shoes, you can only afford the $25 shoe, but no, you're going to pay the $250 to get the Nike tennis shoe because it's going to make you look like, you're a high roller, you're an important person, you have money. You would see that in our society, many times people buy in this way, okay? So this theory is a form of hedonism that exists today in our society, in our world, okay? Epicurean hedonists, all right? They have a regulation to them. They are not psychological. They can control themselves, all right? But this one tends to, and the weakness in this one, it tends to spend more money to get those more refined pleasures. Well, in Cyrenaic hedonism, people can't control themselves. Utilitarianism is a hedonistic theory, all right? It differs from these two theories, okay? And Mill talks about those, about Epicurean hedonism. He says, I want to differ from that one, okay? In this way. Utilitarian hedonism focus on pleasure of the group, of the community, okay? And that makes a difference. That makes a difference. If I'm a Cyrenaic hedonist, I'm thinking about my pleasures and avoiding excessive indulgence. I want pizza. I want to buy the pizza. I just don't want to eat too much and get an upset stomach. If I'm an Epicurean hedonist, I am looking at the quality of the pizza. So I want New York thin crust pizza. And it's so expensive, I can't buy that much of it. I buy a couple of slices, okay? So I want the quality of the pizza, but it's still all about me. I'm about quality. Utilitarian hedonism is a little mixture, okay? It's really saying that you want pleasure, you want to enjoy pleasure in the community. Like when you have a group of friends and you want pizza. You say, hey guys, I want pizza. You guys want pizza? I'm buying. What do y'all want on it? And in that sense, Mill is saying that you're pursuing your pleasure, but in the community. And so you come back with the pizza, you share with your friends, there's talk, there's laughter, you enjoy pizza, they enjoy pizza, and you have a greater amount of happiness, okay? The pleasure isn't just the pleasure of the pizza, it's the conversation, the thank yous, and stuff like that, okay? So you have a system of pleasure of experience because of the pizza. This is what he thinks. Utilitarianism is pursuing pleasure in the community. When you do that, when you look at your behavior and its impact on the community, you change the game completely. It's you and the community. Of course, each member is doing the exact same thing. And in that regard, you get his view of morality, because now your acts is looking how you please, is being judged on how it pleases the groups, the members of the group you're looking at, okay? First, let's get clarity to the definition. Happiness is pleasure itself. See, Aristotle, he defined happiness as eudaimonia. And for Aristotle, pleasure is what? Trying to live the long life, developing complete virtue, complete life, complete virtue, and also acquiring all the good things in life. You need to be success. Let's call it success. Aristotle thought you need to be successful as well. Aristotle's theory includes pleasure as part of it, okay, but only a part of the big puzzle pie he has. For John Stuart Mill, it's about the pleasure itself. You're eating ice cream, it tastes good, you're happy. You're not eating anything that's bland, you're also happy. Because the absence of pain is happiness, all right? So it's a positive feel, right? And through life, we have a lot of positive feel. We're hearing good music, we're and a great conversation with our friends. These pleasures come and go and come and go. And this is happiness. If you're experiencing pain, you're unhappy, literally unhappy. Each individual happiness is just as important. So you are in the community where everyone is equal, you could say. Then their happiness is equal for everyone. Everyone's happy on the same level. So if you were to come home, eat a nice meal, and then you have some food left over, you know, if you're a utilitarianist, rather than throwing that food away, you should go to your neighbors and see if they want some, or maybe go drive on the street and find some homeless people and feed them, okay? Because they're a member of the community, right? And their happiness is just as important as yours. I gave that example to show you that there are some questionable mandates of this theory, okay? Do you really want to go and feed the homeless people your leftovers? You know, it may work, sounds good the first time, but after a couple of times, the homeless people are just waiting for you to bring in their food, okay? But hopefully you get the idea. The most important part of this theory, Mill's theory is an altruistic theory. He's putting others first, but without forgetting yourself. When you go buy the pizza and you're going to share it with your friend, it is not the case you don't, let's say one of the friends is not on the greedy side, you know, they're gluttonous, they want more, right? But there is no more, the last two is for you. Everybody else got theirs and that's two for you. In that moment, you eating that pizza is important because then utilitarian has fulfilled itself. You are happy, they're happy, okay? If you give up your pizza to the other person, you are not acting in the true sense of utilitarianism. You're sacrificing yourself. True utilitarianism is altruistic. I put others first, but I don't forget about myself. Okay, remember you're pursuing pleasure for whom? For yourself, but for the community. And you are a member of the community. And your happiness is just as important as other people's happiness. Okay. Very important, very, very important to make that distinction. And now, and the theory works in a very simple way, and that's why it's part of our society as well. It's part of the business model, okay? An act is more right if it produces the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of people. Or an act is more right if it produces a great amount of pleasure for the greatest number of people. We say the greatest because some people don't want to eat pizza. Not everyone are going to be feeling to eat certain things or listen type of music and gonna have the same desire for certain pleasure at the same time, okay? So the theory goes to the greatest number, okay? And that would make the act morally right. It's very straightforward theory, okay? Peter is in the store. and he's contemplating stealing something from the store. And he got to calculate as a utilitarian, what would be the impact? Okay. Well, if you steal from the store, the store owners will be losing money. The business is one theft, but they're gonna be losing money. Okay, and and the idea is that you're saying that you're having a negative impact because eventually the store is going to raise the prices to make back the money. That's really the way the world works. Like they calculate how much they're going to have in shoplifting, and they increase the price to cover the shoplifters as well. Things are more expensive because we have shoplifters. That's one reason they're higher. Okay, there's a lot of shoplifting. Okay, and so if the store owner going to raise the price, then everyone going to be feeling the sting of people shoplifting, and you're one of those members. And this thing is the group thing. One person stealing was very, very small. A lot of people doing it, it's the exact same thing. Okay. When a lot of people are going to have their prices increase because of your shoplifting, it's a bad thing to do. It's a bad thing to do. You're driving the price up for other people because the store must make a profit to continue business, or they have to close their doors. Okay. If they don't raise the price, they will lose money and they will have to shut their doors. You see? So it's not that stealing is wrong, absolutely. It's that it produces bad consequences in the long run. And so therefore you must manage that. Go a little further, right? There are many examples, many case examples. I highly recommend you look at Internet Encyclopedia Philosophy for these concepts: act utilitarianism and rule utilitarianism. Okay. There are situations in which you can sacrifice someone for the greater good, which I want to look at when we look at applied ethics. Okay, but let's create an example right now. You're in the classroom, you're in a college environment, okay, and you know that one Jeremy, okay, who is the original founder of utilitarianism. You know that Jeremy is a well-to-do person. He has lots of money, okay. And one day you observe that as he gets up, his wallet falls out of his back pocket. So you pick it up and you see there's a wad of money. You take the money, okay, and you leave the wallet there. But you do not keep the money. You share the money with other people. Homeless people, your friends, family, you just give the money away, okay? And so a lot of people benefit from Jeremy's money. He gets his wallet back, but the money is gone, all right? And you keep a little bit for yourself, but you mostly shared it even with other people. In that moment, it would seem as if you're doing the right thing because a greater number of people are enjoying the money, okay? And this is called act utilitarianism. You understand something is wrong with that. You are violating someone's right, the right to their property, okay? You're making the greater good happy by that. That is wrong. The original theory of utilitarianism was a political theory. It's for politicians to behave in a certain way, and it's still applicable today, okay? Sometimes we sacrifice, like when there's they call it eminent domain. They did all the study, all the survey, and they need to create a new highway that will really distress the traffic congestion they have downtown. But the path they follow is going to take certain homes away. Okay, they're going to go and to talk to these people, see if they willingly give up their property. And if they don't, they're going to take them to court and apply eminent domain and take their property forcefully from them because it's for the greater good of the community. So act utilitarianism still applies in that sense. Sometimes it's misapplied when people are doing things that they shouldn't, okay? The government doing things they shouldn't, but it's applied in that way, all right? John Stuart Mill, okay, inherited utilitarianism as act utilitarianism. He did his own philosophical analysis and developed what we call rule utilitarianism. He said, as utilitarians, we have to look at the act. We have to look at what happens if you steal Jeremy's money. But then we have to think, what if we did that often? What if we were to steal Jeremy's money over a long, long time? How many people would agree with that? Not even the people you're giving money to would agree with that. Even if you told the people the first time you did that, they may not accept that, okay? And so, and Jerry, so over the long run, if that happened to anyone who happens to have money, people will see that it's bad act. People won't feel good about it, you know? They won't feel good about this person being victimized just because they have money, okay? They're being victimized because of that, all right? So rule utilitarianism, according to John Stuart Mill, you have to look at the long-term effect. That's what induction means. Imagine repeating the act over a long period of time and then judge the effects because you have human experience. You can imagine what would happen if you keep lying to your friend, lying to your friend, lying to your friend. Okay. You can imagine what would happen if you keep on stealing from someone, stealing from someone, stealing someone to make other people happy. All right. In the long run, um, it's not going to make people happy. You probably start lying to the other people where you're getting the money from. Okay. But it's other than that, it's not. Why can't you share with everyone? Because it's the wrong thing to do. You can't share because it's the wrong thing to do. You should be able to share it with everyone if it's the right thing to do. So Mill coming up with utilitarianism uses the same theory as accurate utilitarianism, but uses it in such a way that you look at the long-term effect. You look at the immediate effect and you go in the long run, right? Utilitarianism is used in business models, corporations nowadays. That idea is still used, even though it's made for political purposes initially, it's still used today. It is definitely part of our society nowadays, and American society is definitely part. And making calculated decision. You look at the long-term impact, how costly it's going to be, and then you make a decision.